Welcome to Chapter 2, Section 5 from the textbook. I don't even know what that 2.7 goes with. I don't even think that's the number on the assignment that goes with this video. Who knows? I had some system sometime, Okay, so now we have learned to multiply our polynomials, and now we're going to factor our polynomials, which kind of is like going backwards. So whereas we had two binomials and we multiplied them, right, to get a trinomial, right? So we started here and went here, right? Well, now we're going to start here and end up here. So we have, and we're going to start with when a equals 1, which is going to make more sense in just a moment here. So please make sure you write this down. This is huge, okay? So this is our trinomial. Ax squared, where a may or may not be some number. Well, it's a number. Sometimes it's 1. B is a number, and c is a number, right? So our binomials that we ended up with looked like this, right? So in this case, this a is 1. So a is 1, b is 3, and c is 2, okay? This is what we call the standard form of a trinomial, okay? So to factor when a is 1, okay? If there's a number here like 3 or 2 or -5, we have different rules, but that's a whole other video. We got to figure out how to do it when a is 1 first, okay? So the first thing we need to do is we need to think about what factors would we multiply. So what two numbers would we multiply together to get c, okay? And then which of those factor pairs would we add up to get this number? Don't worry, we have lots of examples. So make sure you've written down the slide. So here we have a trinomial, right? So our a is 1, our b is 10, and our c is 16. So we need to think about what numbers would multiply to get 16. So what times what is 16? Well, 2 times 8 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 16, we often forget this guy, the 1 times itself 1, okay? But sometimes that's the one that we need, okay? And then think about it. So 3 doesn't go into 16, 5 doesn't go into 16, 6 doesn't go into 16, 7 obviously doesn't go into 16, right? And then we come back to our 8. So we've listed all of the factors. So now we need to think about which of these pairs adds up to equal our positive 10. Well, if we add 2 plus 8, we get 10. 4 plus 4 equals 8, and 1 plus 16 equals 17. I'm actually going to attempt to erase those lines right there because I don't want you to think they're minuses. And so what that means is that this pair right here is the one we're looking for, okay? That's the hard part. And then we just take that pair and we put it into binomials. So x plus 2 times x plus 8. Could you write this x plus 8 and x plus 2? Sure, doesn't matter. Either one. Either order works, is fine, okay? And that you're done. That's your answer, okay? So your work for these is showing me where you're listing all of the possible pairs that multiply to whatever c is. Okay. So let's try another one. Please make sure that you are writing down at least some of these. We're going to do like 6 or 8 or something, but at least write down 2 or 3 or 4, okay? Especially as we get to different ones where we've got minuses and things like that, okay? So, again, the last number, c, the number that doesn't have an x, what multiplies to get to 14? What multiplies to get to 14? Well, 2 times 7 is 14. It's probably the first one most of us would think of. 1 times 14 Not 3 doesn't go into it, 4 doesn't go into it, 5 doesn't go into it, 6 doesn't go into it. We're back to our 7. So we only have the 2 pairs. Again, this right here, that's your work. I need to see that you have written out all your possible pairs, okay? And then we need to think, okay, so if we add 2 plus 7, we get 9. If we add 1 plus 14, we get 15. So this guy right here is the one that adds to our B, or our number in the middle, if you will, okay? So we just need to write our binomials, x plus 2 times x plus 7. Yes, you can write x plus 7 and x plus 2, doesn't matter. And that's your answer. Again, remember, I need to see this, not just an answer. It will help you to, 1, make sure you're correct, and 2, make sure you get credit. But 3, it helps us because as we get more difficult, that step's going to be more important, okay, or more necessary. So, what do we multiply to get to 12? 3 times 4 was the first thing I thought of. 2 times 6. 1 times 12, of course. 3. We've already used the 4. 5 doesn't go into it. And then we've already used the 6. 7, 8, 9. We're good. Okay, so those are our choices. Now, here's the thing. We need to figure out which one of those adds up to be negative 8. Okay? So we're multiplying to get a positive, but adding to get a negative. So that means that both of these need to be negative. Okay, so both pairs need to be negative if C is positive and B is negative. However you want to remember that, okay? I'm going to erase some of my scribbles. So again, if B is negative, whoops, and C is positive, then both of your factor pairs, everything needs to be negative to be able to get that. And then when we add them up, negative 3 times negative 4 is negative 7. Negative 2 times negative 6 is negative 8. Negative 1 times negative 12 is negative 13. Which means that this guy right here is the one that adds up to be our B. So x minus 2, x minus 6. Those negatives becomes minus in our binomials. We're going to do more examples, don't worry. Okay? So that's a little rule you kind of need to remember. If everything's positive here, like they were on these examples, then everything's positive here, right? But if, again, erasing my scribbles, if B is negative and C is positive, then all of your factors are negative. Let's do another one, and we look at it first. Look, B is negative, C is positive. So that means we need to look at all of our negatives, all of our factors being negative. Okay? So what factors do we have of 27? 3 and 9 was the first one I thought of, but we know they both need to be negative because of this guy. Okay? 1 and 27. What else goes into 27? I think that's it, isn't it? Okay? So then we add them up. So negative 3 plus negative 9 equals negative 12. That's what we're looking for, right? So that's going to be our pair. So x minus 3 times x minus 9. If you want to check your work, if you're not sure that you picked the right numbers, like maybe you didn't realize, maybe you thought it was 3 times 7 was 21 or something, 27 or something. Okay? You can always then multiply these, right? Whether that's the box or foiling, right? You can always multiply them and see if you get this as a result. Okay, so it's a way to check your answer, but you don't have to do that for me. Okay, now let's notice that this guy here, B is positive and C is negative, so it's going to be a different rule. Okay, so the steps are the same. So first, let's just think, what multiplies to be 21? Well, 3 times 7, 1 and 21. I think that's it. Okay. Now, C is negative, right? So if C is negative, then one of your factors has to be negative, okay? B tells you which one. If B is positive, then the bigger one is positive and the smaller one is negative. Okay, I'll say that again. If B is positive and C is negative, then the bigger one, the bigger one, or I'm sorry, the bigger one gets to be positive, okay? Pretty sure I have another example like that, so we'll keep going. And then, of course, add them up. So negative 3 plus 7 equals 4. Well, that's what we're looking for, right? Positive 4. Okay? And so we've got x minus 3 and x plus 7. And, of course, you could write that x plus 7, x minus 3. That works. Let's do another example. You know what? I just realized, oh well. I need to make up an example here in a minute. Okay, so B is positive, C is negative. What goes into 8? 2 and 4, 1 and 8. That's about it, okay? B is positive, which means the bigger one is positive, so the smaller one is negative. We add them up. Negative 2 plus 4 equals 2. Negative 1 plus 8 equals 7. That looks like what we're looking for. So x minus 1, x plus 8. I tend to put my smaller factor on the left when I'm writing them out. You don't have to, okay? It's whatever works for you. Okay, now let me pause and make up a new equation. Okay, so here is an example where B and C are negative, right? Okay, so what that means is that when we figure out our factors, the bigger one is the one that's negative. Okay? So, what goes into 12? So 3 times 4, 2 times 6, 1 times 12. I think we've already done the 12, so we know that that's right. Okay, so B is negative also, so that means that the bigger number is negative. So whatever this is, that goes with your bigger number, okay? So when we add those up, 3 plus negative 4 equals negative 1, 2 plus negative 6 equals negative 4, 1 plus negative 12 equals negative 11. So it looks like this is our winner, because that's what we're trying to get to, negative 4. So we've got x plus 2, x minus 6. So that negative with the 6 becomes a negative or a minus in your binomial. Please ask questions in Zoom, please.